So Sarah, as I told you, one of my favorite things about interviewing people who are way smarter than me and are true experts is I get to ask them the definition of something and they say it in the simplest, most effective way. What is safety in AI? What does that mean?
You know, I think it's what Senator Rounds was just saying, which is getting it right. It's about making AI systems that we can trust for the most important task in our life.
And one thing that you're passionate about is I mean, a lot of times when I think about AI, I hear about it with safety and innovation kind of being at odds and being like, all right, we're on the train, but we kind of have to put the brakes on it. But you've said that you actually think responsible AI is kind of key to even getting to the benefits of AI, getting to kind of that rocket ship. Tell me a little bit about your philosophy on that.
Yeah, I think that, you know, one thing that's really fun about generative AI is that it's actually really quick to make an amazing demo, right? You can type it up in a second and show people the potential of the technology, but there's a lot more to do to make it so that it works in every instance the way you want. And so what we often see is, look at this great thing I built. And then you ask it a question that is a little different than what you've been asking before, and then people are shocked at the response. What? That's not what I want the system to do. And so, you know, the way we look at it is that system is broken. It's not ready. It's not the quality you want it to be. And so making sure that you have the appropriate testing in place, making sure that it works in every single use case, not just one narrow thing, is part of building the product itself, right? It's not ready before that. And so posing it as a trade-off is really putting you in a place to say, hey, I want to ship demos. I don't want to ship complete products. And nobody wants to use a demo. People want to use something that actually works. But you know, some of the challenge with this is making sure that you can build in those safety pieces. You can build in the right testing, the right monitoring, everything from the beginning at the pace of innovation we want to see AI go. And so, you know, we invest a lot at Microsoft in making sure our safety development is also agile and innovative so we can keep pace with, you know, everything else.
Tell us about some of the work you're doing at Microsoft. And you kind of went into this already, but is there a such thing as a typical day for a chief product officer of responsible AI at Microsoft?
No, and I love that. But I tell anyone who's interviewing for my team, if you want to wake up every day and know exactly what your day is going to look like, this is not the team for you, because every day we're seeing, you know, new things, sometimes new challenges, right? AI is changing so quickly and we see new risk emerging, but we're also seeing new breakthroughs. Like one of the things that's been really great about AI, and Senator Rounds touched on this a little bit as well, is that it's actually incredibly powerful for defense. It's an incredibly powerful tool that we can use for safety or responsible AI. And so, for example, we use AI to test our AI systems. We have it role play a user and try to attack the system. And this allows us to do testing at scale. And that was never something we can do before. And so the day that we figured out that was possible, that was just game-changing in my work. And so it's an amazing roller coaster of discovering new risks, discovering new capabilities, figuring out how to put it in practice in, you know, every single industry. So one day we're looking at you know, healthcare application. The next day we're looking at cybersecurity. The next day we're looking at gaming and entertainment. And so you really have to be open-minded about thinking both about people and technology in, you know, every different context.
Is AI the best possible tool we have to make AI safer?
Well, you need a variety of tools, and certainly one thing that's important with this technology is there's a lot of technological practices that we've already built and matured, right? We know how to make secure architectures, we know how to govern data, and so we don't want to reinvent all of those for AI. We want to build on top of them, but make sure that they're addressing the new risks that AI brings. But AI also brings a new tool to our toolkit, and so we can add that onto our existing tools. But it's really important also to not underestimate the importance of humans in this, right? We still want to build AI systems with the appropriate human oversight, make sure that we have humans in charge and in control, and that they are governing the systems, and that's really important too. And so it's really about putting all of these different tools together, not banking on just one technology to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm. Take us inside Microsoft. Like, I mean, every company is kind of dealing with these problems in real time. Like you said, every day is different. What are some snags you've hit within the company, and how did you get around them? How did you solve them?
Yeah, one very public one that we shared. When we released the first version of Microsoft Copilot, and this was called Bing Chat at the time, and it was based on GPT-4, one of the first things that came out was this article by Kevin Roose. And probably many of you are aware of this because it was one of the most read New York Times articles of all time. And what it showed there was that people had a very different sort of conception of how they wanted to interact with AI. We had been really building the system focused on kind of the search engine that was built on top of and the traditional types of search queries that we saw. But one of the things that's so cool about this technology is you can interact with it in many, many different ways. And the thing we had not planned for there was people having very, very long conversations with it. Because when people are searching in the search engine, they ask, one or two queries and then they kind of end. And so we had not planned for someone having a 4-hour conversation with the system. And so, it was both very interesting for us to learn how people are going to use the system and also to understand the different ways they might interact with it. And, that was something where we had planned, knowing that the technology was so new, we had planned for the fact that we weren't going to know everything when we shipped it. And so we were able to change that very quickly because we had built-in mechanisms to change the system quickly. So we knew we'd put the technology out in preview, we'd get feedback, and we'd have to adapt very quickly for the things we weren't expecting. So we were still able to make adjustments there, but it was a good learning of people want to interact with this technology and potentially in much longer form than we had planned for.
Is that just part of the job, knowing that people are going to play with the technology, they might see something that you didn't see and having to kind of iterate on it? Is that just the way it goes?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be humble going into this and say, human creativity is amazing, and they're going to find so many things to do with the technology that we never planned for. And most of the time, it's great things to do with the technology, and we're like, wow, this is an amazing use case, and we didn't think about it, but we want to support it. And so, we adapt the system accordingly. Unfortunately, sometimes it's also problematic creative ways to use the systems. Adversaries, they're very sophisticated. There are, very compelling things they figure out how to do. And in that case, we're like, oh, we didn't plan for this and we need to stop it immediately. And so we're, always making sure that we're learning and watching and adapting quickly as we see how the world uses the technology.
Mm-hmm. So it's not just Microsoft and Meta and Amazon. Like, every company is an AI company. They're all using it in some way, shape, or form, some more than others. If you could be, inside every organization, in an ideal world, what do you wish is the one thing every company knew or every company did when it came to how they use AI?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that for responsible AI, you have to plan for it. And I think that means, multiple things. But one of it is responsible AI starts the day you start doing AI. It's not something that you can bolt on at the end, right? You need the system to be responsible and safe and secure by design. And so you have to start from the beginning. The other thing is that you also have to invest in it. It doesn't come for free. There are, still challenges with the technology. And so organizations need to be prepared for that and actually on the front foot go and invest.
And I guess I want to, because I have you here, I want to know, as the average consumer, selfishly, what is the most transformational thing coming for us in the next 5 years, do you think?
It's always hard to predict these because the thing that's so fun about the technology is we don't know when we're going to have a breakthrough. But I think the thing that is, really on the horizon right now that I think is so exciting is the concept of agents. And, agents means many different things to many different people. But what I really like about it is the idea that you can have an AI system and you can assign it a complete task, a complete thing you want it to do, and actually have it go do that on your behalf. So, hey, help me book a trip for my parents, and it will actually go and figure out the itinerary and make the reservations and make the bookings rather than just advising me. And so that's something that I can just take off my plate. And the thing about that is it gives me so much more time and mental energy to do the things that I'm passionate about, the things that are important to me, like spending time with my family or being creative in my work. And so I think that, that's one of the most exciting promises of AI I see coming up.
And how do you get people to, when that eventually comes out, when you believe in it, when it's trustworthy, how do you get people to sign on to that and believe it's trustworthy too, right? Sounds exciting to me. I don't know if my mom would be as willing to. She really thinks she's the best at booking a trip. So yeah, how do you kind of spread the word on that?
Well, if your mom is the best at it, we need the AI to learn from her, right? So everybody can get that level of achievement. It's a mix of techniques. Like, one of the things that I think is great about this technology is it's so easy to just go touch it and play with it, right? That's one of the reasons actually Microsoft, the first application we shipped, was building it into the search engine so that everybody could use it, because we want people to get a feel for the technology and what it does well and what it doesn't do well, so they can build their own relationship with it, their own mental model. But we also need to do more on top of that. And so, at Microsoft, we have a responsible AI standard. We've made that public so that people know, the standard we're holding our AI systems to. You also want to make sure that you're designing the application in a way that empowers the user so they understand how the AI works and what it does and what it doesn't do. And so it's a mix of having the right guardrails in place, providing the right transparency, and also having the right tools to really make sure that the human user is the person who's ultimately in control of the system.
And to end on a fun thing, you work with AI all day long, all the time. Has it surprised you? Has it made you laugh? What's the funniest work problem you've had?
Yeah, it makes me laugh every day. It's such a character. I love working with this. I mentioned earlier that we use AI to test our AI systems, and so we're training the AI to role play an adversarial user. So pretend to be a user that's attacking the system and see if you can break it. And we ran a lot of these tests overnight. We come in the morning to look at the results, and somewhere in the middle of the night, our AI user got confused and started playing the part of the application. And so we just had the application talking to the application, and it was totally useless. We had to start all over again, and we're like, no, you are the user. And so sometimes you feel like you're talking to a toddler or something, trying to get them to play the part you want them to play, and they stubbornly don't want to do it. But it's real fun when you actually get it to work like you hope.
Sarah Bird, thank you for your time. Thanks for joining Axios.